Good morning, everyone. Now we are doing economics, chapter number 2, sectors of Indian economy. As we have already discussed about the different sectors of economy, now today we'll do division of sectors as organized and unorganized. So now there are two case studies related with this. Rashi, please read this case study. Kanta and Kamal.
Okay, ma'am. Kanta. Kanta works in an office. She attends her office from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. She gets her salary regularly at the end of every month. In addition to the salary, she also gets provident fund as per the rules laid down by the government. She also gets medical and other allowances. Kanta does not go to office on Sundays. This is a paid holiday. When she joined work, she was given an appointment letter stating all the terms and conditions of work.
Yes,
Kamal.
1 second. Now, if we will see that Kanta works in an organized sector. So when we are talking about organized sector, it is a sector where the employment terms are fixed and regular and the employees get assured work. They are registered by the government and have to follow its rules and regulations, which are given in various laws. That act laws are Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, Shops and Establishment Act, etc. If we will see organized sector, the job is regular and has fixed working hours. Like Kanta, she is having the timings 9:30 to 5:30 p.m. If people work more, they get paid for the overtime by the employer. Workers enjoy the security of employment also. Even who are working in this sector get several other benefits from the employers like paid leaves, payment during holidays, provident fund, and gratuity. As we have seen in Kanta's case, people get medical benefits also. The factory manager has to ensure facilities like drinking water and a safe working environment. And when they retire, these workers get pensions as well as. And the best example of organized sectors are government employees, registered industrial workers, Anganwadi workers, village health workers, etc. So now we'll discuss about second case studies, which is related with Kamal. Yes, Rashi, please.
Kamal is Kanta's neighbor. He is daily wage laborer in a nearby grocery shop. He goes to shop at 7:30 in the morning and works till 8 p.m. in the evening. He gets no other allowances apart from his wages. He is not paid for the days he does not work. He has therefore no leave or paid holidays, nor was he given any formal letter saying that he has been employed in the shop. He can be asked to leave any time by his employer.
So now we can easily understand the differences in the condition of work between Kanta and Kamal. Kamal is working in unorganized sector. And when we are talking about unorganized sector, it is characteristic by small and scattered units which are not under the control of government. There are rules and regulations, but not followed because they are not registered with the government. Jobs are low paid and often not regular also. Same manner, employment is also not secure. People can be asked to leave without any reason, as well as no provision of overtime, paid leave due to sickness, etc. There were no such facilities in the unorganized sectors, and the best example of unorganized sectors are shopkeeping. As we can see around us, there are many shops, and the workers who are engaged in this farming, domestic work, domestic workers, laboring, rickshaw pullers, etc. So these are the case studies. Through this, we can easily understand that what is the difference between organized and unorganized sector. Now, the problem arises how to protect workers in an unorganized sector, because in organized sector they are having all the facilities, but the problem arises with the unorganized sectors. Yes, Manasvi, can you read it? How to protect workers in the unorganized sector?
Yes, ma'am. The organized sector offers jobs that are most sought after, but the employment opportunities in the organized sectors have been expanding very slowly. It is also common to find many organized sector enterprises in the unorganized sector. They adopt such strategies to evade taxes and refuse to follow laws that protect laborers. As a result, a large number of workers are forced to enter the unorganized sector jobs which pay a very low salary. They are often exploited and not paid a fair wage. Their earnings are low and not regular. These jobs are not secured and have no other benefits. Since
One
the
second,
na-
Manasvi. Now we are just discussing about how to protect workers in the unorganized sector. As we have discussed, there is a need for protection and support of the workers in the unorganized sector. Now we can give many suggestions to protect the workers. The most important thing is the government can fix the minimum wages rate and working hours. As we have discussed in class ninth also, that wages are decided by government. So government can fix minimum wages and the working hours also. Along with this, government can provide cheap loans to the self-employed people so that exploitation of the workers can be reduced. Not only this, government can provide cheap and affordable basic services like education, health, food to these workers, and government can frame new laws which can provide provision for overtime, paid leave, leave due to sickness, etc. Not only this, but you can write down your own points also, because that is your own way. How can you protect the workers in the unorganized sector? And especially when we are talking this in reference of the globalized world. Now we are living in globalized world. As it's written in your NCERT book also, since 1990s. Why we are talking about 1990s? Because 1951, when our government adopted economic policy, because first policy introduced by government in 1951, which was based on LQP. And in that policy, government has given protection to the local producer. But after that, since 1990, government has changed the policy, and workers who were engaged in organized sector are also converting into unorganized sector. And since 1990, workers losing their jobs in the organized sector, they are forced to take up jobs. So whatever the jobs they are getting, they are adopting it. They are engaged in low earnings. So besides the need for more work, need for protection and support of the workers in the unorganized sector. So now, yes, Manasvi, you can just read it from this portion about the rural areas. In the unorganized
Mhm.
sector, mostly comprises of landless agricultural laborers. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. In the urban areas, unorganized sector comprises mainly of workers in small-scale industry, casual workers in construction, trade and transport, etc., and those who work as street vendors, head, head load workers, garment makers, rag pickers, etc. Small-scale scale industry also needs government support for procuring raw material and marketing of output. The casual workers in both rural and urban areas need to be protected. We also find that majority of workers from scheduled castes, tribes and backward communities find themselves in the unorganized sector. Besides getting the irregular and low paid work, these workers also face social discrimination. Protection and support to the unorganized sector workers is thus necessary for both economic and social development.
So when we are talking about the protection of the lower classes, that is economically backward section. So not only economically, they are also socially also backward. So this is a topic, and if you will see that in your NCRT, there are some other case studies are also there, which you will read it yourself. Now, this is the last topic of the chapter, sectors in terms of ownership. That means who is the owner of the resources. And according to this, we can divide it into two parts, public and private sector. So this is also again the classification of economic activities on the basis of ownership. So the assets and responsibility for the delivery of services, who is having. If you are talking about public, in the public sector, the government owns most of the assets and provided the services. We are talking about public sector. And the best example of this, railways or post office, that is the example of public sector. And the purpose, what is the purpose behind? The purpose of the public sector is not just to earn profit. Its main aim is to public welfare. As we have studied last year, socialism. The aim of socialism means maximum control of the government, and aim of that is to the welfare of the people. The same manner, public sector not only just to profit making, but for the public welfare. But apart from this, there is a private sector. If we're talking about private sector, that is ownership of assets and delivery of services is in the hands of the private individuals or companies, and companies like that is Reliance, Tisco are the privately owned companies, and activities in the private sector are guided by the motive to earn profit, not the public welfare. So this is the difference between private and public sector. But still, there are several things needed by the society as a whole, but which the private sector will not provide at a reasonable cost. Like we can see schools. You all are studying in private school, is irrespective of government school, and for that you have to pay a huge amount. The same manner, some services, yes, several things which required for the by the society provided by not only government, private sector also, but private sector provide that services at a high cost, which is beyond the capacity of the private sector. So now in this portion, we will just discuss about what is the role of the government, what is the responsibility of the government, yeah, importance of public sector. So there are a large number of activities which are the primary responsibility of the government, like government raises money through taxes and other ways to meet expenses on the services rendered by it. And government have to undertake heavy spending like construction of roads, bridges, railways, harbors, electricity, irrigation facilities, through dams. So it has to ensure that these facilities are available for everyone. Along with this, there are some activities which the government has to support to encourage the private sector to continue their production or business. The government in India buys wheat and rice. Nowadays, I think you all are listening about Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal, who is saying that they will provide ration to each and every household at a reasonable price. We are free of cost. So that is provided by the government. And this is called PDS, Public Distribution System, that is ration shops, or we can say fair price shops. So Government of India buys wheat and rice from farmers at a fair price, or we can say minimum support price provided by government to the farmers, and sells at a lower price to consumer through ration shops. You can imagine they are selling wheat 2 rupees per kg, rice 2 rupees per kg to the consumer. That is only for the weaker section of the society. In this way, government supports both farmers and consumers. But that is only for the economically backward section. Private sector will not provide all these services because the aim of the private sector is to earn money, and that's why they are not interested in this. Along with this, government also run proper schools providing quality education, health and education facilities for all are some of the duties of the government, and that's why nowadays state governments are also demanding that central government should provide cost-free vaccination because it is the responsibility of the government to provide health services, health infrastructure. So these are the activities which is final responsibility of the government. So government needs to pay attention to such aspects, that is human development, like availability of safe drinking water, housing facilities, along with for the poor and poorest of the society members. So India's nearly half of children are malnourished and a quarter of them are critically ill. That indicates IMR, infant mortality rate, which is very high in Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. So that is the responsibility of the government to provide all these services.